my dear gardening friends. January is a time of dreaming, times of putting plans together for our gardens. And in this video I'm sharing the finalized list which I put together to introduce new roses in my garden. I also will share with you the reasons why I bought that particular rose. So we will start our journey with the front of our garden, where a very beautiful rose is going to be introduced this spring, right here in this corner. When you come closer here, you will see that this area, the original plan was, this yew is one bush here. So I'm training this yew to have a little bit of a round shape here. This is the first year I'm training it. But there, the plan for that corner was to train a section, a limb of this shrub, to create some sort of a nice shape here. But now my plans are changing. Since this area is quite big here, it's probably 3 feet in diameter, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this section of yew down. Thank you, Lord, that yews are so forgiving and they don't mind if I give them a haircut, especially during the first part of the growing season. And what I'm planning to do here, I'm going to put some sort of a structure here, and I'm going to introduce Eden climbing rose here. And Eden climbing rose, I never grew it in my garden, but it's a legendary rose. Old-fashioned, very old-fashioned rose. And since I am old-fashioned, I like that old-fashioned bloom, that cabbage-type bloom, that deep-cupped, full-petaled flower of the rose. Right here, where the steps are meeting, when you just get out of the house, you see that rose. And that rose is going to look right into my face. Now, Eden rose can reach, it's a climbing rose, it can reach up to 8 to 12 feet, and it's a very adaptable rose. So I would be able to create some sort of a structure here, not tall, but good enough for everybody who comes out of the house sees the blooms of Eden rose. Now, the blooms of Eden rose are very interesting. They are all sorts of pastel colors between pinks and greens. The count of petals is up to 100, and the size of the rose, the bloom itself, can reach up to 4 inches. Can you believe it? Now, also, what I like about the graceful Eden rose is that the flowers are so heavy that they nod. They kind of almost fall under their heaviness. So when I come out of that door from the house, and Eden rose, okay, I'm almost 6 feet. So this is where 6 feet is, and then we add another 3-4 feet. This is how this rose is going to be here. Right where I come out of the house, Eden rose would be looking at us. So this is a plan for this section of the garden. Now here we have Queen of Sweden rose, beautiful rose. The disadvantage here is that this rose doesn't get morning sun. And another disadvantage is that my house is yellow and the rose is pink. So yellow and pink doesn't really go well together, and Queen of Sweden has this most charming, cleanest pink with no mix of yellows whatsoever. I wanted Queen of Sweden to look into the windows, and that is good. That function is very good. But the fact that Queen of Sweden is growing against yellow, I want to do something there against that house. So there are 2 solutions. Either introduce several more bushes of Queen of Sweden. This way there would be a green between yellow and pink, and green in the garden is a neutral color together with whites. Green and white are neutral colors. They blend contrasting colors together. So in our situation here, yellow and pink, not really the best combination. So what I'm going to do, either I'm going to introduce several more bushes of Queen of Sweden here. This way there would be more of a green mass here. Because last year I noticed only 2 strong new shoots were being produced on Queen of Sweden, and it's not a lot. And I suspect it because of lack of morning sun here. Another way out of it would be to introduce some sort of a small hedge there to cover the yellow with the green presents, green leaf presents. But I'm afraid that there is not enough of space. So that's a plan for this area for this year. Eden in the corner, and either a low hedge of evergreen, maybe yews, and I know yews wants to grow, but I can introduce them to a very strict trimming regimen and keep them in a very narrow, low shape. And yews can go like that for many years. Or plant Queen of Swedens, more Queen of Swedens there. So this is a plan for this area. Let's go to another corner of my garden and I will show you what's happening there. Just look at what I found under the Christmas tree as one of the presents for me. It's a gift certificate from David Austin. And when I looked inside, I found a nice beautiful card there. And inside the card, what a nice gift certificate from David Austin, from my dear husband who loves my adoration of beautiful blooms. So he gifted me with a gift certificate to David Austin Company, which was very well used this year. And thanks to this gift certificate, I was able to order all my roses for next year. So in this corner, as I told you before, we are going to have two roses. What's the name of the roses? Olivia Austin. And Olivia Austin Rose is a fairly new introduction of David Austin. It's a beautiful floriferous, one of his latest healthy variety. I look forward to that rose because it has beautiful pink blooms. And since my good neighbor, took his tree here, suddenly this year, this area of the garden is going to receive a lot of sun. So I really look forward to planting that rose. What happened to this soil, I already conditioned it many years ago. Before planting my blackcurrant bush, there was a blackcurrant bush before, I went ahead and took a lot of stones out of the soil underneath. So this soil is very healthy here and ready to receive Olivia Austin roses. I decided on 2 shrubs because I want it to be bushy, and I don't think this area would be able to accommodate more than 4 of them. Olivia Austin is 4x4 garden rose, fairly medium size, and in my garden they grow bushy and happy, so I expect that 2 bushes will take this place all right. All right, we are moving further into my garden, to my beautiful pergola, where I am growing currently the generous gardener. It's not vigorous enough to conquer the pergola and flower on the top. So as I told you in my previous video, what I'm going to do, I'm going to plant there at the back very vigorous climber. And the vigorous climber is Adelaide Orleans. Adelaide Orleans is a rambling rose. I called it a climber. It's actually a rambling rose. It's old-fashioned rambling rose, and it flowers only once a year. And I was thinking about it. You know, a lot of people discard once flowering ramblers because what's once flowering? But then I thought to myself, you know what, if the display is magnificent, is breathtaking, and that's what people are saying about this rambling rose, which I'm ready to introduce, that when it's in bloom and when it is mature, healthy rose, it's breathtaking. And what intrigued me the most was that it's a very elegant rambler. Plus, it's a famous rambler of Michael Marriott, the Rosarian of David Austin roses. So I was really tempted by it, and I finally decided on that rambler. Very vigorous one, very proliferous, has beautiful light blooms. Again, blooms once a year. But you know what? I'm very comfortable with only green presence in the garden. I do like green gardens, and the fact that my garden sometimes lacks blooms is very comfortable for me. I relax in the garden, I think, better when it's not overpowered by different color blooms. And because the rambling roses are less demanding for water, they can tolerate sometimes shade a little bit more. And as you can see here, we have mulberry bush at the back, which is giving business to everyone, and this year it's going to be trimmed, unfortunately. So hopefully we will get more sun here. Ramblers can tolerate little shade a little bit better, and if it blooms only once a year, but it's beautiful once a year for several weeks, I don't mind. And for the rest of the year I will be enjoying very healthy, very proliferous green leaves of this rambler on this pergola. Now we are moving to this location in my garden, and for you who didn't see my previous video, this arch will be gone, and I'm going to build my own arch here, much wider, maybe not tall, not as tall as it, no, but maybe the same height as this one, and I'm going to place a modern climber on it. It's a has legendary disease resistance. It's called New Dawn. A New Dawn rose is well known in the world. In 1996, oh no, 2006, I believe, it was voted to be the world's favorite rose by all the rose societies in the world. Also, it was inducted into the Rose Hall of Fame. This rose is well known in the world. I never grew it, and since I read so much about it and I saw it so often in different gardens, I decided that this rose is going to grow here. Now, it's a big climber, modern climber, which has all the modern characteristics which modern gardeners need: disease resistance, beautiful growth, vigorous growth, repeat blooms. It's not really strongly scented, but there is a scent, so I can enjoy a little bit of scent of it. And it has the old roses charm. It has elegance in it. So I like elegant plants. I like old-fashioned plants. That's why I went for New Dawn. I'm not sure if I need 2 New Dawns or just 1. I decided to buy 1, and if I would need to propagate my own, I will do that. So this year 1 New Dawn is coming, and this year I will propagate it and will plant it on another side if I need another one. So this is the plan for this area. And again, I'm going to move my Brazil cat file. You see there? He's still trying to make a bloom. He's losing already its petals, so good. Sun is shining on it, and it feels that rose is happy there. So that rose would be probably moved just several feet and placed right here. Now, I do have to confess, I made 2 impulsive purchases. And my husband, who's going to watch this video, will say, oh, yes. I was talking several weeks ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, to Agni from Great Britain. And Agni, please don't feel bad that you told me about this rose, because this is not, I made that. It's not a mistake. It's just impulsive buy. So what I did, I bought 2 Shropshire Lead roses from David Austin, thinking that I might train them here on this arch. Well, after thinking over about it for several days, I decided not to go with that plan, because Shropshire Lead is a short climber, shortish climber, under 10 feet. So it will never be able to climb on this future arch here. And instead, I'm going to pair it 2 bushes. They're big shrubs, or they can be trained as climbers. I'm going to pair them with Roald, which is coming in front of my garden, and I'm going to pair that Roald with Shropshire Lead in the front of my garden. So those 2 shrubs are going to go there. Yesterday I talked to a very good friend of mine, Maria, and she and her family were sick for 2 weeks. And she was telling me how she misses beautiful rays of sun on her face. So for those of you whose days are rainy or foggy for one reason or another, here is a little bit of sun for you. Happy gardening, and I will see you